in servo motor, AC servo motor, and DC servo motor. Okay, so synchros will be actually it is connected to the servo motor. How it is connected, how it operates, we will discuss in this class. Okay, so the synchros working, it works on the principle of the rotating transformer, synchros. Okay, so what is a rotating transformer? It's you know what is meant by rotating transformer? It's nothing but an induction motor. Okay, so induction motor can be called as a rotating transformer. Okay, synchros is formed by interconnection of two devices. Okay, synchros is formed by interconnection of two devices. Those two devices are synchro transmitter and synchro transformer. Okay, synchro transmitter and synchro transformer. You can even call it a synchro control transformer. Okay, 1 minute. So together this synchro transmitter and synchro transformer, control transformer, okay, together they are known as synchro pair. Together they are known as synchro pair. Okay, so usually synchro, we won't use the single word synchro, we will usually call it as synchro pair. Synchro pair means it is the it consists of two devices. One is synchro transmitter and one is synchro transformer. Okay, so the synchro pair means the transmitter, synchro transmitter, and synchro transformer together. What they will do is they will measure and compare two angular displacements, and its output voltage is approximately linear with the angular difference of the axis of the both the shafts. So here, okay, so both the shafts means you won't be able to understand. Okay, so I will show you a diagram so that it will be easy for you to understand. If you see, this diagram, this is our synchro transmitter, this is our synchro transformer. Okay, so both will work on the principle of induction motor, rotating transformer. Okay, so both will have a rotor and stator. Okay, so stators will be having three-phase windings. Okay, so with which these three-phase windings will be in balanced condition, means phase angle distance between these three phases will be 120 degrees in both the cases. This is synchro transmitter, this is synchro transformer. Okay, of course we are going to discuss the operation in detail. First of all, we will discuss separately. Okay, so the rotors shafts. Okay, there are two rotors here. One is about for the transmitter, one is for the transformer. So we know shaft is always connected to the rotors. Okay, that's what I was telling. Okay, let us go to our slide. Where was we? Where were we? So we were in the almost first slide. Okay, so we were in the second slide. Okay, so the output voltage is approximately linear with the angular difference of the axis of both the shafts. So what is one shaft is of the synchro transformer, another shaft is of the synchro transmitter. Okay, so in this synchro pair means synchro transmitter and synchro transformer. It will measure and compare. It will measure and compare two angular displacement. So one angular displacement is in the transmitter, another angular displacement is in the transformer. So what are those two angular displacements? I will show you later on in the further slides. Don't worry. And the output voltage that is produced in this synchro pair, it will be approximately linear with the angular difference of the axis of both the shafts. So these statements can be clearly understood later on. I will explain clearly the operation of both the devices and together how they operate. When I explain you will be able to understand this statement. Okay, no, don't worry if you are unable to understand now. Okay, So this synchro pair can be used in two ways, okay, or for two purposes, I can say. Can be used for two purposes. One is to control the angular position of the load from a remote place or long distance. Okay, so if I want to control the angular position of the load from a remote place or long distance, I can use this synchro pair. Other one is automatic correction of changes due to disturbance in the angular position of the load. So if there is any disturbance in the load, and if the angular position of the rotor then the load changes, or okay, so if the angular position of the rotor in the load changes, then automatically if synchro player is connected to that device or the machine whose angular position has changed due to the disturbance, then the synchro pair will automatically correct that change. Okay, I hope you have understood. So the synchro pair can be used for two purposes. One is to control the angular position of the load from the remote place to long distance. Okay, that is one purpose. Another purpose is if any disturbance occurs in the load angular position, then that disturbance can be automatically corrected if that load is connected to the synchro pair. Okay, one is for automatic correction of the angular position, another is for controlling the angular position of the load. Okay, one is for controlling the angular position of the load, other one is automatically correcting the angular position of the load. These two purposes can be fulfilled by using a synchro pair. Okay, so let us discuss one by one. One by one means we have two devices in synchro pair. One is synchro transmitter, other one is synchro transformer. Okay, so let us discuss in detail about these devices. Okay, I will close my video so that my mobile data is saved. Okay, so okay, ma synchro transmitter. So let us first of all see the construction of the synchro transmitter. Okay, synchro transmitter will be consisting of a rotor and a stator. Okay, so if you observe, this rotor is like a dumbbell. You know dumbbell, I think, in your workshop, in first year workshop, you might have used dumbbells. Okay, I don't know. I used the dumbbells. Okay, I had a job on dumbbells in my BTech first year. I don't know about here. Okay, so if in your workshop you might have seen, if you had that job in your workshop, you might have seen the dumbbells. Okay, so this is the rotor. Okay, this you can see within this red line, whatever is it, this is our rotor. Okay, this is our rotor which is in dumbbell shape. Okay, and this is the stator. If you observe stator carefully, if you observe stator carefully, the slots are in the inner periphery of the stator. Okay, so this is the stator which has slots in the inner periphery. The stator is constructed by using laminated sheets with inner slots. Okay, so you might be knowing what is meant by laminated sheets. Okay, in your ET subject you might have already learned it. Okay, so how to construct the rotor and stator you might have learned in your ET subject in your second year itself. Okay, so this stator is manufactured or constructed by laminated sheets. Okay, with inner slots. Okay, in these inner slots, three-phase concentric winding is placed. Okay, all the three phases are balanced with a phase angle displacement of 120 degree. Okay, so three-phase winding is placed in the stator, whereas single winding is placed in the rotor. Okay, so across this rotor, a single winding is wound. Okay, like this, a single winding is wound across the rotor, and slip rings are connected to this rotor. These slip rings are further connected, given to the AC supply. So to the rotor, AC supply is given. Okay, to the rotor, AC supply is given. Okay, through the slip rings. Okay, so one thing you must remember is for synchro transmitter, dumbbell shaped rotor is used, and laminated stator is used with inner slots, with slots in the inner periphery. Okay, and three-phase winding is placed in the slots of the stator, and a single winding is wound across the rotor. Okay, I'm erasing all the ends. Okay, and all the three phases are the three-phase winding is the winding that is used in the but that is placed in the stator slots is a concentric type winding, and all the phases of these windings are balanced. Okay, with a phase angle displacement of 120 degrees. Okay, that you remember. Okay, so if you want, we can. This is the symbolic representation. See, three phases: S1, S2, S3. A single winding is wound across the rotor. This is the shaft of the rotor. Okay, so the angle at which the rotor rotates, let us assume it as the angular displacement of the rotor with respect to time is how it is rotating is that angle is measured by theta. Okay, so if you want, you can go through this. There are two major parts in the synchro transmitter. One is stator, other is rotor. Stator is identical to the three-phase alternator. Okay, it is made up of laminated silicon steel that you already know, slotted in the inner periphery. Okay, to accommodate balanced three-phase windings. Okay, so stator winding is concentric type with axis of three coils 120-degree apart. Stator winding is star connected. Okay, so the rotor is dumbbell construction. Okay, with a single winding, which I have already discussed. Okay, okay. So these ends of the rotor windings are terminated with two slip rings. See, these two are the slip rings. Okay, single phase AC supply voltage is used to excite the rotor. Okay, so when AC supply is given to the rotor, okay, so if you see this angle, this is the axis of the rotor. Okay, this is the axis of the rotor. So when AC supply is given to the rotor, what happens is, okay, when AC supply is given, what happens is EMF is induced in the stator windings due to transformer action. How EMF is induced in the transformer? In the secondary winding, you know that. Okay, so this rotor winding acts as the primary winding, and the stator windings will act as the secondary winding. So how EMF is induced in the transformer, you people already know. You even know the operation of the single phase induction motor. So I need not explain about how EMF is induced. Okay, so the rotor is excited by AC voltage, rotor current flows, and a magnetic field. Of course, you know that flux is induced and current flows to the winding. This magnetic field, when it cuts the stator windings, EMF is induced in the stator windings, okay, due to transformer action. So the effective voltage induced in any stator coil depends upon the angular position of the coil's axis with respect to the rotor axis. What is coil axis? What is rotor axis? What is coil axis? Okay, stator coil. This is the stator coil. These three are the stator coils. Okay, so okay, this is the axis of this S2. Okay, this is the axis of this, what is it, S3. Okay, this is the axis of S1. This is the axis of what? Rotor axis. Okay, this is the axis of rotor, this is the axis of S2, axis of S3, axis of S4. Okay, parallel to this winding I am drawing. Okay, so this point you must remember. The effective voltage induced in any stator coil depends upon the angular position of the coil's axis with respect to the rotor axis. So what is the angular position of the coil axis with respect to the rotor axis? Means now if you observe, this rotor axis is making an angle of theta with respect to S2 winding. Okay, isn't it? It is making an angle of theta with respect to the S2 winding. Okay, and if rotor rotates in the anti-clockwise direction, if you observe the direction is in the anti-clockwise direction, okay, as the so what happens? The axis will move further apart from S2. So what will happen to theta? What will happen to theta? If this dotted line has shifted here, okay, the rotor is rotating in the anti-clockwise direction. If this is the rotor axis of the rotor, what will happen to theta? Theta will definitely increase. Okay, isn't it? Theta will definitely increase. Okay, so the effective voltage induced in any stator coil depends upon the angular position of the coil's axis with respect to the rotor axis. That you must remember. Okay, so let us derive some voltage equations. Okay, let us assume ER is the instantaneous value of AC voltage applied to the rotor. Okay, instantaneous value of AC voltage applied to the rotor. Here, this is ER. Okay, ER is the instantaneous value of AC voltage applied to the rotor. Okay, and ES1, ES2, ES3 are the instantaneous values of EMFs induced in the stator coils S1, S2, S3 with respect to the neutral respectively. Okay, so definitely if I extend these three, I'm erasing all things. Okay, so definitely neutral. Okay. Uh, Something has happened. Something. Okay. Just rotating. That's all. Okay. You just imagine that these three windings are meeting at certain point. That point is nothing but your neutral point. With respect to neutral, towards this phase end, the voltage in between. I wanted to write that, but something has happened to my system or cursor or whatever it is. Okay. It is not responding. System is not responding. Let us wait. It is not responding. It is rotating and rotating. Okay, so something is wrong with my system. Wait for a few seconds till this rotation stops. You can observe, I think you can see on the screen, it is rotating. It's going on rotating. Okay. Something has happened. It's not responding. Okay. Okay. I think time is time is running. System is not responding. Okay, my system is not responding, so I'm planning to teach this concept in my mobile itself. If system has hung, okay, some issue has occurred, it seems. Something is wrong with my system. Wait for a second. Uh, I will download this in my mobile. This topic. I will teach in the mobile. Okay. If this system responds, I will proceed. Something is wrong. Something is wrong with my system. Okay, all of you. I hope my voice is audible. Something is wrong with my system. I'm presenting using my mobile. You just inform me as soon as you see the screen. Okay, somebody unmute yourself and inform me. Okay, so if my system resumes, I will start. People tell me, are you able to see the screen? Anybody? Just tell me.
Visible, ma'am.
It is
Yes, madam.
visible. Okay, okay, ma. Okay, I'll proceed in this. Huh? Okay. Okay, so this is what it is. Okay, so if you see this electrical circuit, okay, so all these three windings are having a phase angle displacement of, okay, 120 degree. Okay, stator windings I'm telling. So this point is nothing but neutral point. You know that this point is neutral point. So with respect to neutral, voltage between S2 and neutral is some ES2. Let us assume voltage between neutral and S1 is ES1. Okay, so voltage between with respect to neutral voltages. Okay, so okay. So let us go for the slide in which we were there. So ES1, ES2. Okay, so ES1, ES2, ES3 are the instantaneous values of EMFs induced in the stator coil with respect to the neutral. Okay, so E capital ER is the maximum value of the rotor excitation voltage. Okay, maximum value of rotor excitation voltage means what is the excitation voltage of the rotor? Excitation voltage of the rotor is ER. ER is the excitation voltage of the rotor. E R is the excitation voltage of the rotor. So maximum value of excitation voltage is some capital E R. Okay. So omega angular frequency of the rotor excitation voltage, Kt turns ratio of the stator and rotor windings, okay, coupling coefficient Kc, theta is the angular displacement of the rotor with respect to the stator. Okay, angular displacement of the rotor with respect to the stator winding axis. Okay, so rotor axis with respect to the stator axis. Okay, so let us, so what is ER is the instance value of the instantaneous value of the rotor. Okay, so okay, so let us assume ER is capital ER sine omega t. Okay, so let us assume that rotor is rotating in anti-clockwise direction. Okay, and rotor rotates by an angle of theta. Okay, so EMFs are induced in the stator winding when the rotor is rotating. Okay, the frequency of the induced EMF is same as the rotor frequency. Okay, so EMF, rotor EMF frequency and the stator EMF frequencies are same. Okay, so the magnitude of the induced EMFs are proportional to the turns ratio Kt and coupling coefficient Kc. Okay, so okay, magnitude of the EMF is proportional to EMF that is in the rotor. Rotor EMF is proportional, sorry, EMF is induced in the stator, isn't it? The stator EMF is proportional to the turns ratio Kt and it is also proportional to the coupling coefficient Kc, and its magnitude will be, it will also proportional to the EMF in the rotor windings. Okay, so the rotor excitation voltage is ER sin omega t. So that excitation voltage into Kc into Kt. Okay, now let us consider this ES2 is the reference vector. Okay, so let us consider, okay, ES2 is the reference vector with reference to the whatever figure that is there. If ES2 is reference, when theta equal to 0, so flux linkage of the coil S2 is maximum. And theta equal to 0 means what? Okay, and theta is equal to 0 means, go to the main diagram. Okay, and theta equal to 0 means what? This diagram, I want this diagram, I'm unable to open it. Oh, it is already there. Okay, okay, so I will erase all the inks. Theta equal to 0 means what? This is the rotor axis, this is the S2 axis, isn't it? Axis of S2. Okay, so when both the axes are parallel to each other, it means when rotor axis moves in this direction, and it is above the axis of S2. Okay, and the rotor axis is on the axis of S2, the what will be theta value? Theta will be equal to 0. Theta will be equal to 0. Okay, so when both the axes are parallel to each other, theta will be equal to 0. So when theta is equal to 0, the flux linking with coil S2 will be maxima. Similarly, if theta is 90, theta is 90 means what? Theta is 90 means, theta is 90 means, I will erase all the inks. It is taking longer time. Theta is 90 means this is it, isn't it? This is the stator one. This is the axis of the rotor. Okay, this is the axis of the rotor. This is the axis of the rotor. So angular displacement. Okay, now the rotor dumbbell is here. So rotor is like this. Okay, so I will draw it here clearly. So now dumbbell is, right. So dumbbell is like this. Okay, dumbbell is like this. Rotor dumbbell is like this. Okay, so stator winding axis with respect to, this is by rotor winding axis. So the angle made by the stator winding axis with respect to rotor winding axis will be 90 degree. Okay, it will be 90 degree. Okay, now I hope you have understood. I have overlapped everything. Okay, so it is 90 degrees. So once again, let us go to this slide. Okay, if it is a blackboard, everything will be on the same board. Okay, so when it is 90 degree, the flux linking with coil S2 is 0. When it is 90 degree, the flux linking with the coil is 0. Okay. Next, flux linking with coil S2 will be maximum after rotation of 120 degrees, isn't it? Well, let us go to the main diagram. Okay. So this is our diagram. Okay. So flux linking with coil S2 is maximum. Flux linking with coil S2 is maximum when theta equal to 0 degrees, isn't it? Flux linking with S2 is coil S2 is maximum when theta equal to 0 degrees. Similarly, flux linking with S3 will be maximum after an angular displacement of 120 degree. Means when theta is equal to 120 degrees. Similarly, flux linking with S1 will be maximum when theta is equal to 240 degrees. Okay, when theta equal to 240 degrees, flux linking with the S1 will be maximum. Okay, so flux linking with S2 is maximum when theta is equal to 0 degrees. Okay, theta equal to 0 degrees. Similarly, flux linking with S3 will be maximum when theta equal to 120 degrees. Flux linking with S1 will be maximum when theta equal to 240. What is meant by theta? The angle, the rotor axis is at 120 degree. S2 as the reference. This is our reference with respect to reference. So with respect to reference, when the rotor angle has shifted to 240 degrees, 240 degrees, I'm changing my presenter. Okay, I have restarted my system. So it's better to use the system instead of mobile. So I'm once again trying to present the screen using my system. Okay, I hope you have understood this. So if okay, okay, see here, this is here. Okay, system not now. Okay, that is it. Here, this is it. So will be S3 flux linking for coil S3 will be maximum. Okay, it will be maximum when after rotation of 120 in anti-clockwise direction, and it that of S1 will be maximum at a rotation of 240 degrees. So let us assume Kc is the coupling coefficient of S2, coupling coefficient of S3. It is K1 cos theta. So K1 cos theta minus 120 for S3. For S1 it is K1 minus cos theta minus 240. Okay, so I'm presenting my screen. I will try to present my screen. Okay, this is it. Let me see whether it is visible. Okay, so it is overlapping in my mobile. So better. So if you observe, if you see the screen, I hope, I think it is visible. I'm going to stop presenting using my mobile, and I'll show it in the system. Okay. So where am I? Is my screen visible? Desktop screen? Okay, it is not visible. Some error has occurred. Okay, now it is visible, I think. Okay. Okay, now it is visible for you people, but not for me here. I am unable to see. Okay. So if you see here on the screen, so coupling coefficient of coil S2 is K1 cos theta. Okay. Coupling coefficient of S3 is K1 cos theta minus 120 degree. Okay. And the coupling coefficient of S1 is K1 cos theta minus 240 degrees. Okay. Okay, so here the EMF of the stator coils with respect to neutral can be expressed as, okay, in terms of turns ratio, okay, in terms of coupling coefficient, and so you have already seen, I have some issue here, so it is taking a longer time. So what is ES actually? ES is KT KC ER sin omega t. KT KC ER sin omega t. So instead of KC, you are writing K1 cos theta. Okay, that's all, nothing else. Okay, K1 cos theta. Okay, okay. So let us move to the next slide. Okay. Okay, thank God. Something is visible on my screen. Okay, so KT ER cos sin omega t. Okay, so KT K1 cos theta ER sin omega t. You assume, let us assume KT turns ratio. Here K1 cos omega t cos theta is, sorry, not omega t, cos theta is nothing but coupling coefficient. Okay, so what is, you have already seen EMF induced in the stator coil is KT KC ER sin omega t. ER sin omega t is nothing but your excitation voltage to the rotor. This is the turns ratio of the stator and the rotor. This is the coupling coefficient of the, based on the rotor position. Coupling coefficient will be varying. So angular position, how, for with respect, if S2 is the reference, KC is K1 cos theta theta. Okay, similarly this is it. Okay, for S3, for S1. Okay, so why 120, why 240, you already know, I have already explained it to you. Okay, so ES2 will be KT K1 cos theta ER sin omega t. Here we are assuming KT into K1 as K, so ER cos theta sin omega t. Similarly ES3 is cos theta minus 120 will be introduced here. Here for S1, 240 will be there. Okay, so we are just replacing KT K1 by some K value. Okay, so this is our stator winding. Okay, we have seen. Okay, okay, I'm expanding the screen. Let me see whether my screen will be visible or not. Okay, screen is visible. Let me see whether I can use the pen or not. Okay, I'm able to use the pen also. Okay, so this is it. This is our this is our neutral. Okay, so for you people, screen is not visible. For me, it is visible. Oh yeah. So this is our neutral point. Okay, again screen has gone. Screen is not visible, isn't it? And now it is visible. Huh? Okay. Uh, okay. I will just go this time. Okay, now it is visible, isn't it? So this is our neutral point. Okay. So with respect to neutral, we have written all the voltage equations. Let us see the voltage equation with in between phases. Means in between ES2 and ES1, ES1, ES2, in between ES2 and ES3, ES2, ES3. Okay. So I'm not writing here ES. Simply I have written S1, S2, S2, S3. Similarly, voltage between S1 and S3, ES3, S1. Okay, these are the voltages between the phases. Let us see the voltages. Okay, between the phases are nothing but ES1, ES2 is nothing but ES1 minus ES2. So you know what is ES1, you know what is minus, what is ES2 in the above equations. Okay, in the above equations you already know. You just subtract them, you will get this equation. That's all, nothing else. Okay, So similarly, subtracting these two voltages, you will get these equations. Okay. So when theta equal to 0, ES3, ES1 will be equal to 0. Why? This position of the rotor, it is defined as electrical zero position. Okay. And theta equal to 0, substitute theta equal to 0, this whole term will become 0, isn't it? Sin 0, 0. Sin 0 into anything 0, it will become 0. Okay. This whole term will become 0. Okay. So this position is known as electrical zero position when theta equal to 0. Okay. So input of the synchro transmitter is the angular position of the rotor shaft, and the output is the set of three stator coil to coil voltages. So here the input for the synchro transmitter is angular position of the rotor, and the output is the coil to coil voltages. Coil to coil voltages are ES1 S2, ES2 S3, ES3 S1. Okay. Okay, already time has passed. I wanted to complete this topic. Okay, do you have any free hour tomorrow or today? Or shall I take class today after 3:45? Somebody inform Mama. I will conclude this unit today itself. Can I take class after 3:45? If you want, I will take, otherwise I will not. Anybody? If people can respond. Shall I take class after 3:45 today? Okay, within half an hour I will complete this unit. Nobody is responding? Are you able to hear my voice? Is it my wish? If you people attend, then I can take. Okay. Okay, at 3:45 I will continue this summer, because if I continue now, other staff will, this class will be disturbed. So, okay. So I'm taking this screenshot. So I will take today, I will take the class at 3:45. Okay. So for half an hour I will take, and I will complete this unit. Okay, we will start next unit on Monday. Okay, 3:45 after your class. Don't leave. Rejoin this class. Okay. I will give attendance for that class also. Don't worry for about the attendance. I will give the attendance for that class also. So at 3:45 I will take the class. If your staff continues, you just inform that staff that I am going to take the class. Okay. At 3:45 I will join your class once again, so that I will complete this unit.